In the beginning was a word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. The beginning is described to us as a void without shape or form. The best way that we can depict this void is with water. In the midst of this void arose an intelligence and maturity unlike any other. It uttered a manifestation in the form of words. The word was, "Let there be light." And there was light. Soon there were other manifestations, other words uttered, one of which being the earth to separate the waters. And because we too have all of the same elements as the earth, we too can call ourselves earth. Greetings and welcome to another footstep in the journey, another brick in the temple. This is the build. I am coupled with Elias, Brother Eli. As always, he will bring in the opening announcements, and then we will discuss further into the matter of the evening. Brother Eli, if you would.
Blessings. I did not see us. I didn't see the update on Triumphant page, so I can post it.
We are experiencing some technical difficulty of sorts.
Okay.
We'll discuss that after.
Okay. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Blessings. Blessings. Always to amazing life that we're living. That we are receiving the opportunity to explore a greater being's existence. The words we are expressing freely are not meant to offend anyone. And Brother Michael, it is so amazing that no matter who I speak to about any subject, I can talk about ants. Someone going to somehow perceive I'm talking about them as an individual. So the words we are expressing freely are not meant to offend anyone. Our words are not meant to be in any competition with anyone else's wisdom. Your wisdom and understanding is yours alone. We are choosing to remain consecrated while in the richness of blessings and being in the furnace of affliction, the burning bush. Conquering ignorance is essential. Nobody is born wise. We must make a serious effort to develop the qualities needed to be able to speak and achieve Mayat without falling into the twin traps of vanity and greed. And our entire existence rests on knowledge and not on belief. In the ancient Kemetic book of two ways, it says that the causes of wrongdoing from all eternity is ignorance and immaturity. And that conclude my introduction.
Blessings, and we are thankful for the communion that we have here, the collection of evidence that we have here. In the last 7 days, I have amassed a series of intellectual calamities upon the people over at least 20 of them, some of which I will not necessarily be able to get into for the time that we have allotted, as we have gone back to the hour slot because we value each other's time. But there are some, even one, if we were to only to go over that one, which will bring forth more enlightenment, which might burn the eyes of those who have never used them before. And that's just the facts. We have been in many different sparring matches regarding emotion and science, reality versus belief. And the more that I show my gratitude and love for Brother Eli and all of the scientific evidence that he has brought forth into the build, I find myself to be less and less emotional. I do not know if that is going to become a dangerous thing, but it is something that is happening quite rapidly. If I'm grading upon the scale of me as a person who will within the next 12 hours will officially be 43 Gregorian years old. That said, the build that I had with Brother Eli on Friday featured certain revelations that were met with love, gratitude, and also another, I won't say a warning, but it felt as if it was a pat on the shoulder from Brother Eli saying, yes, but there is still more to come for you. Brother Eli is on the brink of meeting his Jubilee at 50 years on this earth. He has done an immense amount of work in regards to the concepts that I spoke of, in regards to hope, love, charity, all of these things, these three, and has exhausted all of those to the point where the only thing that is left is evidence, fact, science, and theories of only new technologies that will surpass the ones that we have present day. For it does say in the Bible, greater works than he, God, Jesus, shall we do. That Bible verse brought to me certain contemplations in regards to finding the evidence of everything from the Garden in Eden to Noah's Ark. There was an image that Eli had brought to social media in regards to Noah's Ark. He had on one side Noah's Ark, and then the other side, he had a party cruise ship. And it dwarfed Noah's Ark tens of times over, to which I wanted even more evidence. So what I did, sorry.
Your volume just went down a little bit, brother. It was nice, and the sound went down a little bit.
Okay. So what I ended up doing was I looked up Noah's Ark and its dimensions. Interesting that what we thought a cubit was before finding out for certain mathematically its size, it's thought of to be immense. Here is the evidence. A cubit in a conversions table, cubits to feet. 1 cubit is the equivalent of 1.5 feet. In Noah's Ark, when placed in the conversion table, this is the ark that is spoken of in the Bible that has carried every animal, 2 of its kind, to save it from the great flood that was to last 40 days and 40 nights, drowning out every inhabitant of the earth except Noah's family and these creatures. The dimensions in Noah's Ark in Genesis chapter 6 are given in cubits. The length being 300 cubits, the breadth 50 cubits, and height 30 cubits. Those are the dimensions. This means by the conversion table, the approximations, the ark would have been 144 meters long, 24.1 meters wide, and 14.46 meters tall. This is, in layman's terms, the size of a very small cargo ship. Yet it contained all of the animals that Adam had named of the civilization at the time for the preservation of a new world, a new humanity. Me being a man of the cloth who has spoken of the Gospels in churches, who have had shared New Age midrash in synagogues, who have shared space with people of Islam, used to believe that every animal could fit on a ship that holds only what we would consider small cargo. And yet, by the magnitudes, we have Caribbean cargo lines that take people to and from all over the world that are no less than 10 times the size of which is used for certain extravagances. Oh, you can eat buffets, lots of music, and all of these other things. I had to sit and contemplate this for 10 of the longest minutes of my existence on this planet, because I had thought of all of the times that I have shared these stories and these allegories with people about how amazing God is through people. And it's not to say that the building of Noah's Ark, which was done from scratch, was not amazing. No. But it goes back to the Bible verse that greater works shall we do. And we have. There are many others. We have in the Bible sight to the blind that is given by spit off of the dirt on a hand and rubbed across the face. And now we have LASIK. We have the walking on water, the turning water into wine, and we have breweries, and we have knowledge of certain levels of sodium within the water that will actually have us walking on water. This is not some magic trick. This is nothing more than science to a scienceless community in mind. These are what formed the series of hatreds upon witches, warlocks of that age, of any age. They were nothing more than scientists, than alchemists that did not succumb to the society that they were in. They seeked to enhance and evolve. And the way that this was done was relentless and without much emotion. So then I thought, let me study emotion. For, of course, if we are to have any progress, we have to stay human, right? We have to have some type of moral compass of sorts to make sure that we do not become evil people. But science does not work that way. It never has, and it never will. And I can prove that as well. The Manhattan Project, which was the creation of the first bomb, huge. I'm sorry. I apologize for my laughter. This is to prevent me from any other emotions that are similar to crying. This technology that was meant to be for an infinite renewable energy was meant to use to destroy people by an interesting approach towards the knowledge ascertained, and a society that wanted to wage war with ultimate power. Yet, if it were not for these discoveries, we would not have what is going on in Switzerland right now, a science mecca that I'll call named CERN, CERN, which are taking the idea of antimatter into a palatable form of renewable energy. We have cold fusion being worked on as a means to present an infinite source of energy, literally coming out of thin air. And yet there are people that went today dressed to the nines in a place to sit down, to listen to music, to pray inside of an architectural space and believe that that is all that is needed to sustain humanity. It is something that I am trying to not be disgusted in from what I see now. There is nothing that is personal about science. Nothing. There's everything that is personal about the opposite of progress in regards to humanity, out of fear of enhancing the people to so much of an individual means that there is a idea of threat that we will war against each other, when in fact what could happen is an absolute utopia on this planet. For there will be no need for the mere employment of just over brokes of jobs and the idea of imaginary blessings coming in the form of bills being paid on time. A utopia, ladies and gentlemen, from technology and technology alone, because innately, we already have a certain level of knowing what is useful and not useful to the development of a society. However, we fight over those things with dogma, and morals are in the crossfire between science, reality, and the fiction that is religion. God does not work in this way. However, I had been under the cloth teaching people the complete opposite. And this is not something that I had not wrestled with before, but the answer that is given to you when you are in places like seminary is whatever you can get the people to believe in enough to sustain their life is efficient. And by that, it means that any religion, as long as it stops people from killing themselves, as long as it stops people from hurting each other, causing bodily harm to each other and themselves, then it is enough. Not that it is bringing any progress to society, but that it is enough. It is a controlling mechanism, and I am knowing that I am not the first person to say that the gig is up, it is over. Even the idea of the age of Pisces, the age of Aquarius, is over. According to the Kemetic calendar, March 4th, which just happened yesterday, of this year is not just the beginning of their year, their new year. It is thought of as an ancestral holy day and the beginning of a new age, an age that does not have religion as its main tool for creating the moral compass, because we've had in previous builds the following be uttered. If you need the threat of eternal damnation to become a good person, you are not a good person. The idea of anything on this earth being done without harm is impossible. There is always some matter of destruction in order to build other things. Transformation and transference of energy in order to become the alchemist, become the architect, become the carpenter that creates and orchestrates other things, new ideas. Everything is nothing but matter. It's interesting that when we say something is wrong, something is the matter. The matter is what? It is what we personify it to be. Even our eating regimens is nothing more than the transference of matter. And because some of those things used to have a face, some of those things can be heard audibly in regard to the idea of emotion once inflicted any means of harm. It is thought of as being an emotional thing and becomes a religion within itself. I'm speaking about certain concepts as vegetarianism, veganism, raw veganism, the other diets, keto, these different things. When science proves that it is only matter, taking in more matter than is needed is excess, taking in too less of matter, both of which will destroy the human body. There have been studies that I have been doing over the last 7 days also in regards to eating. There is a myth that doing the least amount of harm in regards to eating regimen is going to come from a vegan eating regimen. However, I have come to find other evidence that even the vegan eating lifestyle calls for the death of hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of animal life in order to preserve the life of plants. Now, I have said a lot in these 20 minutes, and I try to make sure that we're going to keep these concise again in regards to time and knowing that we need time allotted for Brother Eli to respond. I'm looking forward to what Eli has to say in regards to Noah's Ark and all of those other things. I know that because of its minuscule approach towards the idea of belief versus evidence, that will be very easy for him to undertake. However, know that in closing, my closing argument, before we go into this whole discussion, which we will keep as an open conversation, that even in my own personal life, I am learning that there are a lot of things that are unfortunately not personal at all. It is strictly business, it is strictly progress. And I am having difficulty not taking things personally. It is something that I am working on, not just here, but also here. And because of that, I am grateful for Brother Eli's presence because he is helping me more than I ever even imagined I could be assisted with this matter. Brother Eli, if you would.
Blessings. Brother Mike, last meeting I discovered that you had an audience. I didn't know. I thought you was like me, just here in your own space but no one's around. Um,
Mm.
so that was that was creative. I looked at Mike Tyson today,
Mm.
and he was being interviewed, and he wanted to surprise Evander Holyfield. So when you look at a level of immaturity, growing to maturity, it says a man will wear his diapers twice. That doesn't necessarily have to do with a garment or something you put on, but just being innocent again before you die and go back to God,
Mm.
because God don't have time for it. Um, so that's why I was telling young people, I says, look at y'all have evidence that y'all can look at people when they were younger on video compared to when it was time to go meet the responsible one. The ear, all the stuff that they perceived that it was theirs, energy and strength, they definitely learned. And we even both spoke about this gentleman's name, Slice, Kimbo Slice. Died
Ah, yes,
died at
yes.
42.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, when you was talking about becoming emotionally vacant, if you will, um, the only thing that I've been speaking about for my personal self is living your purpose. When you look at the sun, moon, stars, galaxies, as existence itself, cells in the body, it don't have anything to do with emotion. It's just doing its purpose. So emotion is not relevant to a job that you have to perform within the existence of life itself. So when we mature enough, just like a marriage, just like relationships. In the beginning, at the puppy stage, you understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
And
Hmm.
then you get more focused to the goal or the destination, and things, tend to circle. So looking at that particular aspect, and that only shows who are the real ones and who are not.
Hmm.
And when you look at human beings, most human beings only love the idea of a thing. Most human beings are not creators. Most human beings, because when you are a creator, that means you have a lot of work to do. Let's just look at the 7-day Adventists. Let's look at Jehovah Witness. Anything that had to start was not easy, even birth. But
Mm.
most people, and that's why I ask people, where are you going? Because most people are excited about the idea. And that's why they said the journey is not for the strong nor the swift, because these people come and go.
Hmm.
So that's why, there is a difference with ones who want to become purpose compared to ones who just enjoy the experience of those who create the purpose. Like even inventing the shoe. that came out of tired of running on sticks, and I mean, so
Yeah.
you got to be. It was a song called "I'm All Cried Out." You have to be cried out because it seems for most humans, the mother of ideas and inventions are suffering through suffering, like some of the
Mm,
greatest songs. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it's nothing new beyond the sun, because that we don't deal with that old school stuff like sky's the limit to the sun and stuff.
yeah.
Um, yes, and I spoke about that at work. How most people love the idea, and all you do is watch, just sit, because the people who love it don't need to be micromanaged. And when you're dealing with God, God said you're gonna do what you don't. You just keep it moving. See,
Mm,
because God, and that's why we have multiple sperm that come out. Because nature don't have time for wretched ones. They already know it's gonna be wretched. And that's why they die off. It's not personal. It's just a part of, like in Georgia, they have a lot of pollen.
mm,
I mean, so that's how life is. It's not personal. I mean, because it's not for the strong or the swift. And that's why they give you the story of the tortoise and the hare. It's just
mhm.
that simple. Because ideas come and go, but when you look at the person's work, like, okay, you bounce here, you bounce there, you wasn't committed here, you wasn't committed there. I mean, like I presented one of your soulmates. What he didn't speak for like 11 years straight.
Yes.
And now
Yes.
he got 2 master degrees, and he's something else, and he's at Cambridge, because
Yes.
life going to keep going, because we here to overcome challenges. There's a greater intelligence that's greater than us that I always adore and don't have no concerns of us. To see our accomplishments, okay, let me do something strenuous for my catalog.
Mm.
And that's why the other than books, we got the video to show that yes, existence have things to do. And that's why they say look back, but don't stare. You see? So it's just a lot of things, and it's like it's not a big deal, because existence is going to do what it needs to do, despite what lifetime, because we only live what, 100, maybe 120 years. It's not
Mm.
nothing. I mean, it's like I remember people had pets. We were designed to outlive pets. It's not personal. Then most people get another dog. So when you deal with higher beings, they may have a minimum lifespan of 400 years. I mean, yeah, they will adore you and appreciate, oh man, I remember such and such, and put your picture up, because
Right.
life itself have to keep going, have to continue. So you may not mature today, but you'll mature tomorrow. That's what they mean by every knee shall bow. And if you replace the word God, I remember talking about this when I was 19. If you replace the word God in the Bible, you say nature. That's all they did. All they did was put the laws of cause and effect, remove that, and put Lord. Like, oh my God, it's gonna be the end. We're gonna have tornadoes and stuff. And the Lord did it. That's all they
Mhm.
did. When you read the Bible, you just remove that and put the causes of life, the laws of cause and effect, and how nature expands itself, then you'll see the reality. But a lot of us are not old enough or mature enough to know the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Mm.
And that's what it is. It's not. I mean, that's what it is. Because I mean,
Yeah.
as because like this, I mean, I know I don't have a big audience, but I know if I sit with the biggest audience and we just collaborate on things, that the stuff that's going to come out of me is going to be clearer and more detail of what people have been studying practically their entire lives. I
Mhm.
mean, so that's why you see the most wealthiest, most expensive things are hidden.
Mhm.
You never find Queen Elizabeth at the club.
No, not at all. Not at
No, I
all.
mean, or like if you find one of the most expensive diamonds, it's not going to be on display. It
No.
doesn't work like that when it comes to the most important things in existence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing about it. It's not, and that's why as a child, because I reflect. I was even at work the other day because people was saying they didn't understand that when I used the word 50 years, it's not their 50 years. And I make it clear to them, and
Mm.
I name a few things and say, oh, they understand because a lot of people turn 50, but you don't find too many people as a 3, 4, 5 year old child keeping certain promises and doing it for 50 years nonstop. See, that just, just take most people, just disqualify most people.
Yeah. Most people can't even hold on to an eating regimen for 50 days, let alone someone holding certain promises for 50 years. I can't even remember the last
Or
time I
or
allowed a person to tell me that they were going to promise me anything.
or fasting once a week for 9 years straight every weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, these things and see, Brother Michael, that's what I mean by, as you already know as a minister, your journey with God is a personal one. It's a personal one. So you don't have to give up preaching and teaching because we are all children of God. And you can give it away. And I want to take back a little bit since we in this particular circle. So you got to, respect the grounds that you stand on. You spoke about how religion and the church and stuff save stuff. I shook my head and said, no. I mean, because you have more sicknesses and illnesses than these people in the hospital. They go to more doctor's appointments than they spend time in church on Sunday. So no, it's not saving nobody. It's not, it's not helping. It's not mentally helping people. They taking medications for the mental. I mean, so remember, I'm
Mhm.
evidence based. So none of that stuff that you name, it's no evidence of that. Nothing. The church does nothing because you look in their purses, even before they showed up, they took the medications from science.
Mhm. Mhm.
They even drove the car that was from a atheistic country. You know what I'm saying? They
Mhm.
wearing clothes that's made in China. So the religion is not providing nothing. It's not providing nothing at all. I mean, it's like so, but going to the masses, you can, you call it a job, call it a work, call it like you confining, like not confining, but you're not you kind of supporting people. Like say for instance, you doing poetry on the stage. This one day a week or Wednesday study, but it's the same thing. It
Mhm.
doesn't do anything, but what it does is enough because even when people do poetry, well, if they want to sound any good and talk to a large amount of people, they need technology, microphones, speakers, stage lighting. They wouldn't do it in the outside. It wouldn't be as beautiful outside. So even all the see, so the thing about it is it doesn't matter. If you're gonna be that, you have to be that. It's no clowning around. The gig is up. It's not about emotion. You gotta be purpose. Like the sun, moon, and stars. Like the sun don't care we have nuclear war and the earth, just
Mhm.
cause remember back in the ancient time, Mother Earth used to speak. Oh, humans, please stop. Let me create this. Now it's like, is that you know, you know what I'm saying? So you'll outgrow the emotion of the job that you have to perform. Like grandparents, they take care of their grandchildren. They don't give a damn about a grandchild necessarily, as they did as their first child, but they know it's a responsibility. So they're there. Like God is
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
Because only frauds say they're going to do something and don't do it. That's a fraud. That's a lemon. So it doesn't matter. That's why when you say husbandry, if you look at the whole concept of husbandry, there is a relationship of nothing but the growth and the progress of other things, even when you be in husbandry of your farm. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So you don't be being emotional like the people that gotta, feed the family have to go kill a chicken. Like one of my favorite movies is called Charlotte's Web. It wasn't. He was like, "Look, it's not personal."
Mm-hmm.
That they had to, kill Wilbur.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then Wilbur, he cried so loud, but he discovered Charlotte died. She saved his life, but he couldn't save her. So he couldn't even return the favor of the natural laws of life. So that's the thing about it. And that's why it's like, those people who know what life's truly about, they just watch people come and go, but they stay on the purpose. And, just like a church, I will have an old school church with the door open because long as it's there. So when a prostitute, after having been raped and stuff, she go in and pray 3 in the morning, like back in the day, church doors always open,
Mm-hmm.
and then she leaves. The church, long as it's there, like a bar. Bar don't care what you do at home. When you go there, it's there waiting on you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
being of service of what you said you was going to do. So it doesn't matter if it's one person or 10 person. Long the option is there, like a clean glass compared to a dirty glass. Then back to this veganism, you mentioned that. No, veganism is not bad. And that's why some of us who are mature, we just say strictly plant based because you can eat donuts to be a vegan. You can eat French fries. So there's a lot of vegan food that's unhealthy.
Yeah.
And then when I discover, if you honestly a strictly plant based person, your stomach shrinks. So you don't even need a lot. You actually drink more fluid than eat solid food if you are a strict vegetarian. So it's all a gimmick.
The gimmick that I was speaking about in regards to vegetarian and veganism is the idea that they are better, higher on the moral compass than a person who does indeed eat meat or has another type of eating regimen because agriculture, and especially the way that it is done today, proves that there's actually the more killing to even provide the fields, the soil, the fertilizer, all of these different things. They're doing a whole lot more than what they believe they're doing in regards to eating a piece of fruit. For example, uh, you and I both know that the way that everything has been economized, fruit is not even grown tree for tree anymore. It is grafted from a certain genome and then replicated. The idea that uh, soil, because our soil is so depleted of any of our the nutrients based upon it being tilled for so long, which indeed was the one of the very first hard works or heavy lever of the sin, if you would. Uh, the uh, the soil, if you look at the ingredients, it includes bone meal, blood meal, and parts of animal products in order to create this fertile ground to have the seed in an environment with enough potassium, nitrogen, and phosphorus to grow in the first place. So like when I was at one time a raw vegan and using that as a moral compass, that's when it becomes dangerous. When it's personal, when you're just thinking of this as a way that helps me, that I am at a benefit, it's not necessarily something that you're imposing on another person. I think that's what I'm speaking about. The imposition that this is the way on another person, that's when it becomes dangerous because now you have wars over this, you have fighting over this, you have groups, and all groups are good guys looking for a bad guy, and everyone is telling themselves that they're a good guy, and everyone is telling themselves that everyone else is a bad guy when it does not need to be the case at all. That's what I was alluding to, brother, in regards to the eating regimen. Um, because there's evidence that shows that is the idea of less harm being done for plant-based eating. That is not true anymore. Not with the way that it's done now. Not true.
Okay, let's talk about that. So let's go back to the real definition of a vegan. I think we off the mark on that. So let's get back on the mark, Brother Michael. Vegan don't even wear anything with animal products. They don't participate in any means financially to support the herd of animals. That's veganism. It's just that vegetarianism is when you just deal with the food part, but veganism is a way of life. So let's add the real definition to veganism. Um, and the other one, brother, when you look at nature, um, the timing is right because Bible, the basic instructions to lead the earth, and the reason why at the same time, let's look at it from a mature perspective. So, basic instructions to leave the physical earth. We're going to need to know how to genetically modify foods in order to travel long distances to different planets. So, it serves its purpose. It's just our eyes are not looking to the proper point. Everything works simultaneously. Like we made vehicles and tires, then we produce roads. So at the same time, from our limited understanding in the past, not today, but the past, we thought we was depleting the soil and all that stuff was bad, that they was manipulating plants and seedless fruit. No, that stuff was for people of the future because they're going to leave the earth. They're going to need to have this technology. They can't have a farm on a big old ship and tilling the soil. You know what I'm saying? That's outdated because the greater responsibility is coming, like 3D printing. 3D printing gonna allow them to go to a different planet, use a remote control, and build. You see what I'm saying? So, for those who are alive or who are gods, not subhuman, that's why existence doesn't stop them because existence already had this mapped out, like a person who created a apple seed and put it in the ground and produce more seeds compared to the person that could put the seed in and live for 20 years and die while the seed, the tree is still going. So this is a journey to leave the earth. So again, veganism is because there is a hierarchy. There is a better. It's a fact. There is a like this is the one thing I was thinking about today. People are so into that AI pictures. I'm looking like, wait a minute. All the AI pictures got smooth skin. What diet give you smooth skin? That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm not into the hope. I'm not into the baby talk. I'm not into the foolishness. People are attracted to perfection. Period. Because you don't see a crazy looking AI picture. People don't buy phones with less pixels. It's a fraud. So yes, the strict vegetarianism, veganism is the highest. Number one. So you don't necessarily, like you just said, have to use the bone stuff because the soil eats that. We don't eat that. The soil eats the ground up bones and all that kind of stuff. We don't, it's not the same. I'm gonna give you an example.
It's not the same.
I don't know if you know this, brother Michael, but check this out. You know, when they are spending a lot of time in outer space, did you know in a closed caption situation that they've been using machines to drink their own urine because that's the only water they have? So again, when you talking on grown up level, they don't say, "Ooh, we drinking the urine." They have machines that supposedly separate whatever they need, and they drink the water from their own urine. So see, it's when you deal with grown up talk, you looking at necessity. So we don't need no seedless water. I mean, watermelon with seeds in outer space. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not on the same planet. So then we make and bring the seeds after we find another planet. You see what I'm saying? So I only see progress. And yes, brother Michael, this is recent because most of the time while I'm speaking, I'm listening as well. But no, when you are honest, strict vegetarian and you are a vegan, meaning that you don't participate in any exploitation of animals. You know what I'm saying? That's a first origin of veganism, not even wearing animal shoes or animal watch. You see what I'm saying? So it's a way of
Yes,
life. It's
but
not a marketing thing. Yes, sir.
what I'm saying is, even a person that wears nothing but cotton, in order for that cotton field to even be created, there had to be some matter of pesticides that are done to make sure that the animals do not inhabit the cotton. There are certain things that happened with the tilling of certain fruits and vegetables that have certain pesticides that allow insects to be unalived when farming this. This is a part of agriculture.
But
Agriculture,
what's the best material now for vegans?
you tell me,
It's not marijuana. It start with an H.
hemp.
So when you grow hemp, it doesn't necessarily need as much. I mean, it does a lot of things. So again, we're progressing. And yes, there are accidents along the way. You see what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is there is a greater destruction when you see these animals in these slaughterhouses. It's like, if you want to be honest, if I have an egg and I put the egg in the soil to grow my plants, it's different when you taking a chicken and you wringing his neck. It's a difference because the fear is going. Let me use an example. When you eat goat meat and you do it the kosher way, when the animal dies and is not afraid, the meat is soft and it doesn't have a weird taste. But when you eat an animal in fear, you get that adrenaline and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
it is a greater way to do things. But go into more detail what you mean by it is worse than how we are doing with these animals who are conscious.
Well, here's the idea of what consciousness is. Who's to say that plants do not have certain levels of knowing that it is being eaten, of knowing
You know?
that it is
Mhm.
being consumed? And
Yes.
if we believe as all life is life, then it takes life to preserve life. We exist because everything else exists, because
Hmm.
we do a certain level of consumption. This is coming from, I'll explain where this is coming from very briefly.
Yes.
This is coming from me being plant based for 13 years. And the imposition, without even knowing that I was doing this, the imposition that I've placed on other people about this being the highest end of of sustaining your life has caused many issues with different people's bodies and even their mental health. And it affected them in ways that were contrary to what I was believed would happen for, which has happened for me in regards to smoother skin, in regards to being able to sleep for more quality rest, in regards to the idea, the moral compass of saying that I am doing less harm on the earth. When in fact, if we literally count every bird, every rat, every insect, we are all in some way mass murderers without even thinking about it. So the idea of it all being matter is meaning that no matter what you are doing in regards to what you are eating, the fight over who is more supreme is is irrelevant. If we're going to progress in any way scientifically, we have to get away from the emotion of saying, I am this and you are that. Because if we're all working on a goal towards progress, we don't have time for those type of arguments. That's when it becomes when people spend all day on social media having these type of arguments for sake of arguing without any progression. That is when it becomes dangerous because, well, they'll just stay in the argument. They'll just stay in the talk and not the work. And there's a lot of talk that uh, certain eating regimens are healthier than others. There's certain talk from certain failures that we spoke of as doctors being failures that at one time used to smoke cigarettes while riding bicycles in the 50s and 60s and said that this was a healthy thing. So the idea of progression is a realization that all of it is matter. It is just the forming and transcending and shaping of matter. And if we stay in the concept of argument itself, then that is what is the matter with us. We have to end the arguments and say, okay, this is how we're going to progress for whatever situations that we're going to embark upon, any journeys we're going to embark upon. This is where we need to progress. I remember being a person who would be almost disgusted with being in the company of a person who consumed animal-based product. Like it was a training within the society that I was allowing myself to communicate with, who were vegan, who were plant-based, that all meat eaters were just evil people. When in fact, uh, none of those arguments proved to be valid enough towards any progression. Uh, and a lot of things that happen in regards to health are indeed relative. Now, there are certain absolute facts, of course, but even those just become mere truths. We have a person that thinks that you can get uh, shot in the head and immediately die, and then we have proof and evidence that science has shown that there's a guy with half of a face and is still talking to us. And what's weird about it is he's actually giving thanks to God about it. So, like, these relativities are subject. What the main objective is science, those atheist geniuses, they all see all of this as matter and on that alone. And because of that, they are minimizing the idea of having these minuscule arguments, and they are pushing towards a progress for being able to leave the earth in the way that they are.
You cannot argue two apples put together equals two apples. Um, so yeah, you can't argue that. But that's why, Brother Michael, you know, when you deal with wisdom, you always ask a person, even before you start, where are you taking me? Where are we going?
Mm-hmm.
You don't go to school not knowing where you're going if you complete the school work. That will destroy all this talk because, again, people don't know where they're going.
We go to universities and learn nothing about the universe whatsoever from any of the professors.
Unless you're doing astrophysics. But the thing
Exactly.
about it, when you look at, it's like, brother, it's like, again, all of this stuff that we talk about, all people have to do is say, where are we going? Because someone have already done it. So we look at their roadmap, we already know that most people don't have what it takes. So, yes, veganism, the culture is a better society because, again, birds of a feather flock together. You do not throw your pearls before swine. So, if you are in a culture or group of society that they already agreed upon how they're going to eat, it's not even a conversation. I remember people coming into my personal space where there is no cooked food. The level of cleanliness is superior than those that cooked food because when you cook, the steam and the meat get on the walls. It's like a icky. So it is a superior. It's a fact. Even when you boil food, you know what I'm saying? When you boil food, it affects the environment that is being cooked in. A lot of people don't know that level of cleanliness. Some of us do. Okay, so the thing about it is because a lot of people don't even clean their walls. I used to do that when I had an apartment every week. Corner, swept it down, used to, and then always test it, Brother Michael, the natural way. How many boogers I have in my nose when I leave my apartment? And I never had any. That's how you test if you're in an environment that is filthy. So that's the thing about it. There is a superior way of life. You don't have colds and all that kind of stuff because the environment is clean. Just like the body is always working to eliminate stuff. It don't just keep stuff there. It eliminates dead blood cells constantly. So if you live in a raw, vegan, plant-based home that don't have an oven or a stove or something to boil, the environment is cleaner compared to somebody cooking fried chicken. All that grease, all that stuff is everywhere. And it's even so the thing about it is you gotta ask people where are they going? And if y'all agreed upon where you're going, and when they quit, they can't say nothing because like a job, you signed the contract. And see, that's what your problem is, Brother Michael. So maybe here on out, when you talk to new people, you already know it's gonna feel good with the conversation. Say, where are we going? What's going to be the conclusion? Because you already know people are going to leave. But you got to be like God, put the mirror in their face. Because most people forget the promises they made. That's why God invented the concept of a written contract. That's why when they people who sold drugs, they said if you give them the drug first, they smoke it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna get your money. So that's how I eliminate all that foolishness. If you deal with new people that you meet, already always talk about the conclusion and then break down what it takes, what it took those who did that already. And then when people get to their, weary old self, like humans always do, you know, go to they want to get over here. Well, the weak ones. Okay. That's a fact. You got strong ones that stay on a straight path. You got weak ones, like the sperm cell. Some sperm cells went that way. Some sperm cells went that way. It's nothing new. So that's how you eliminate a lot of that stuff. And again, you may even find it within yourself that you don't have the strength that you thought you had to go that straight path or that idea. And see, that's why in corporations, they have architects to build the blueprint to see even if they got the money to do it. You see what I'm saying? And there's a 5-year plan. There's a plan. So if you meet people that say, okay, we're going to do this for 2 years. We're going to do this for 3 years. We're going to do this for 2 weeks. And then it says, well, okay. Like I remember when I had concerns about the majority of people, I used to always say, okay, when you go exercising, Brother Michael, I used to say, you already know it's going to rain one day. You already know you're going to wake up tired. Remember, it's already excuses that's going to be presented before them. You know what I'm saying? So once you write those things down and they, of course, grow into those experience of why they shouldn't do it, then you just check it off. And then when they get to talking, just say, here, do your work. That's why we die with our memories. The guy only show you how you failed yourself. So that's the fact that matters, brother, to alleviate all the fun stuff. Or you can have the conversation, like you said, for the sake of argument. But just don't have the emotion of getting angry. You can have fun. You can laugh. You know what I'm saying? But you're not disturbing the waters from within. So you can argue and yell and do all that stuff. But if your wallet from within is balanced and stable, you're good. Coming from a vibrational perspective, which the God listened to. And from my perspective, I definitely think there is a God. I don't, well, from our concept of the word God, even though it's a German, 500 some years, you know what I'm
Mm,
saying? But
mm,
there's powers, man. It's a beautiful thing. So I wouldn't even give up the concept. It's my cell phone. Remember, I look at my things. But
mm,
yeah, it's beautiful. But the thing about it is to remove most people who may have good energy, idea, feel good, all kind of stuff. This says number one, where are we going? What does the ending look like? And then let's look up people who already did the journey. and we will discover if we have it financially or we have the willpower to complete this path. And again, if people are honest, and again you get the frauds, yeah, I can do it. Check off the challenges, write them down. So Bob Ross had this problem in 1802, and then you'll see each human. And when they get to say, "Oh man, look, man, you've been saying mean words to me," it's all this crazy stuff how we put on other people. But yeah, you say, "Okay, well, I'm sorry, but this is what you agreed upon. This is the contract." And I just checked off each one you broke. And I didn't argue with you. I didn't debate you. We didn't have problems. And go in peace.
Hmm.
Let's just
Which,
go in peace. And like I said, even you can say go in peace from the devils from within. Because no, I don't think it's like you have to experience the latter first. Dealing with this veganism, you have to spend some years in a community that's all of them dedicated to the complete lifestyle in order to judge it. And if you haven't done it, you're not qualified to speak on it. You're not qualified to talk about veganism because some parts of India, as just some places, brother, like when you go to certain temples, they don't have all that kind of stuff. They're in peace. Especially those temples in the mountains. They don't have all these refrigerators and that kind of stuff. They're not eating no animals. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I haven't seen one world you talking about that can defeat the peace of these vegans and these vegetarians in these high mountains that's doing martial art amongst themselves, amongst brothers. They are at peace with themselves in life and nature. That's evidence. So yeah, that's the highest form. And the people who are not strong enough to do it, of course, here they go again. Instead of saying, "Oh no, eating animals is not near the highest form," and that's why even in the Bible, God tried to make everybody a vegan again, and He said, "Y'all people, I'm gonna make you eat so much meat it's gonna come out your nose." It's right there in Exodus. They didn't say eat meat in Genesis. It says the herbs and stuff be meat. But human beings, you don't have it. And it's okay because it's already been written. It's already been written. Most people, like the sperm cell, they're going to fall off. That's how life is. It's not personal. You can take it personal. It's your own choice. But time don't have no concerns over issues. It's going to continue on, period. So that's all I'm saying. All these ideas. And another thing you can test, and it's a funny thing you can have with these people. Talk about the colors. When you talk to these people, they have these beautiful ideas. Says, what color is blue? And have them point to it. What color is yellow? And you'll see nobody disagree with the evidence. But soon you start about philosophizing about something, somebody come with a different opinion. It's so crazy, man. Humans, undeveloped minds, they are a problem. These people are so much of a problem that they hate their own life choices. That's a fact. So the thing about it is, and that's why in life, you have to face your fears. You don't have to. And most people, they blame everybody else. And it's okay. Nature don't care because, like, say, for instance, somebody that want to continue eating meat. Look at that woman when her husband, we got that evidence. He is still tearing her down even in her older years because her spirit is going because he is dying because he refused to. Remember the old woman in her 70s, remember? 10 years later, her husband, the son even looked pretty bad too. So, but the thing about it, but again, if her husband, as the evidence, were vibrant like she was because she cared about him, so she got to be his caretaker. And the spirit of seeing him with his selfish self, she still suffers because, as she said in the video, he took care of her for years. But you see her spirit being drained. So no, only until you had the opportunity to be in the community that everybody agreed upon. And it's not a conversation, it's a way of life. Then you can test both situations. But until then, it cannot honestly be tested. And I have been in situations of people who were serious about their discipline, and they don't have as many problems that we have. We have so much crap. It's sad. I mean, it's so much. I mean, we're so bad. I mean, it's like, I mean, because I don't know who you hang around, brother, but one of my jobs, I deal with dialysis patients and stuff. And there are so many people with diabetes. There's so many people. And my other job, I'm in like the convenience store area, and I'm looking the past 2 days. The sugar is, I'm talking about, I would say about 10 feet in length of rows of the bags of sugar, 10 feet about 5 feet, number sugar. It's almost sold out every day. And the next one is sold out is sodas. So I was like, I told people, I said, look, wow, I got the answers to what I was curious about. Because I'm sitting there with the people like, man, it's something. I thought the doctors were just making it up. Like, look, they just get making people in dialysis because, they would need the money. But
Mm.
now I saw the evidence. And somebody spoke about people's diet in different countries that it is illegal to sell a lot of these products in their country. Like, I think the brother said even at a McDonald's, when the food they're not allowed to, McDonald's are not allowed to sell not natural beef and stuff. And when it gets bad, they have to throw it away. So it's the
Mhm.
culture. And these people, they're not dealing with the stuff that we're dealing with health. So that's what I'm saying about it. It's too much evidence that you know um the amount of cancers, the amount of just about the mental health. I mean, look at the coffee shops. I mean, people are not on it. I mean, I don't care what they say. You know, no. I mean, even my own self. It's like I study myself, and the more I go towards a direction, the more something support me to go further. You see, and I suffer because I'm around others who are not, because I'm more sensitive to other people's energy, and I be feeling their illnesses, and it makes me sick. So now I know why the people go to mountains, because I mean, that's one of the most annoying things, that you clean yourself so much that you're vibrant like an animal. You vibrant like a plant, that you can feel your environment. You dealing with these people who drink and negative thinking, their hearts are corrupt, and the stresses, and I mean, it's raggedy. People are raggedy. If you going from an energetic level, you will see how raggedy people are. And what I mean by raggedy, it's like secondhand smoke. You destroy those who try their best not to be as raggedy. And I'm telling you, I feel it everywhere I go. And that's why I'm trying to get away, because you do get sensitive when you clean your being, like you spoke about your frequency. When you clean, it gets really to a high vibration level. Your vibration expand, and then as loving spirits, we tend to assist others energetically, not conscious. It's just things how it work energetically. And these suffering people, they love to suck on your energy, man. They know it. For some reason, they know that you are clean. They'll come right next to you, chewing on you. You gotta, so no, I am not convinced that being 100% vegan, as opposed to being a strict vegetarian, as we supposed to be, drinking only water, not juices and Kool-Aids and all that kind of stuff, water only, having a 60% liquid diet and 40% solid foods. That is the most superior way from a human perspective. And fasting. They got the thing called a Methuselah mouse who eat 1 meal a day. He'll outlive his others. So I'm just saying, just living the most simplest. It's called simple living, brother Michael. When you eat like warm plant stuff, it's simple. You just chew it. You don't worry about the taste. You just worry about how you just drink water only. Eat. Oh, whew, I am becoming a fruit maniac. I had a fruit bowl the other day. I'm like, oh my God. Now that's where you get fun. and some good chocolate stuff here and there. You can get some good dark chocolate in there. You know what I mean? But yes, it's a superior way, and that strict vegetarian, vegan lifestyle, like these temples be dwelling on. And when you go to these temples, they be clean. And this is another thing, brother Michael, how we can look at these people who are not honest about what is better. When you go to like certain facilities and the place is clean, brother, it makes you feel good. You don't go to these museums and it be dirty and raggedy.
No,
It
no.
doesn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is a better. There's a hierarchy. There is a hierarchy when it comes to things. There's a hierarchy. I mean, only a listen. The evidence is because people are attracted to the new things. It's like when you got the raggedy people, right? They in let's say for instance, I know even in your area as well. So let's use this evidence. When they had a Walmart and they revamped the Walmart to a new one, more people came. We have a new car. So you know what I'm saying? So we love perfection. So even the raggedest person love the new cell phone, love the new
Yeah.
shoes, love the new hat. We love new things because how it is. It's clean. When you buy a new car, you know what I'm saying? Like new glasses, we like the cleanliness of it, how it's vibrant. When you buy a new shirt, or you get new equipment. It's like, woo, it works. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, I like it. It gives you that response that lets you know we're born for perfection. And that's why we get newer things over and we see things get old. Even pictures. Even pictures have aging. It ages.
Yeah.
Like my old, yeah. So yeah, brother, it's like, no. I mean, I don't see the evidence of all this raggedy stuff. Because when I see the Louis Vuitton stores, it don't be raggedy in there and people want to go in there. When I see like these Mercedes Benz dealerships or these dealerships with these expensive cars, or they are dealing with like new high fashion stuff, the real craftsmen, like new watches and stuff, people are impressed. They don't look at the old beat up watch and raggedy watch. It doesn't know. So we love divine, clean, amazing stuff. And that's why when people age better than others, we say black don't crack because we see cracks as something that's not as better as so again, again, when you deal with reality, you gotta deal with reality. Even when people buy vintage cars, those cars, the engines are clean. You can eat your bologna sandwich off of the engine, off the muffler, right? When you go to these, when they sitting amongst themselves, amongst them brethren, and everybody got their old 1929 cars, they don't be raggedy. These things be clean and they be paint. The paint be vibrant. It be beautiful. And they sit there all happy with their 1929 Mercedes Benz. So no, there is a hierarchy that we prefer on a global level. And that's why if you go to another country, they look at the new technology or the new car. Oh my God, they sit in it. Oh, feel that. Even though it's nothing but a car.
Hmm.
So no, we are towards the new. A new baby, you got the new smell. You smell the baby's breath. You know what I'm saying? You can smell a baby all day. You know what I'm saying? So no, we are towards the new. It's just a fact. There is a hierarchy. And the strict vegetarian, water only pretty much, 99 or 98% of liquids you consume, and plant-based is the highest, and fasting. There is nothing on earth that's going to outdo it, because even the ones they are scientists, if they just apply fasting, because they so worried about eating, I don't know that why they still dumb. Well, it's going to take 27 days to reach Mars. Well, fast 10 of those days, but they haven't put it in yet, but they will in the future. They be forced. And that's why the aliens that come here, most of them, all the aliens, I would use the word, look like human. They eat plants, but they have a concoction of liquid that helps suppress their desires to eat. But you still have time to think. So that's why it is a hierarchy, because when you doing simple living, drinking water only, and eating fruit and plant based, how it releases from your body, it gives you more oxygen. You see what I'm saying? It's just and then again, simple living, like say for instance, if you don't have a refrigerator, right? So you don't have a refrigerator, or you may have just a cooler. So you have a simple cooler, then you have your fruits in there, you have your, and then you can have your chocolate. Yeah, you gotta have some sin in there, brother. That's we're human, brother. You gotta have some, or you do the like say for instance, you do the strict, even though it's not strict. So I use the word natural. So I use simple living. So you use simple living, 98% water only, but then go and get you some juice. I mean some mango juice. You know, you gotta have a little sin because you're up and down. You up, but beneath the navel you down. So yes, go and get your tiramisu. Because it's your life. Yes, splurge out on a cheese pizza. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, go and splurge on these things. But what happens is you're gonna lose the desire for it the more clean your body become, because your body loves oxygen more than anything else. And a lot of foods people eat just remove a lot of their oxygen from their bodies. So that's the thing about it. So I don't necessarily say veganism no more. I don't necessarily say even strict vegetarianism. I call it simple living. And even listening to that term even defeats the other ones as well. Oh, how you live? Are you a vegan stuff? No, I just live simply.
Hmm.
Simple living. I drink water, all my liquids and fruits and vegetables. Simple living. So even that term is a hierarchy, because simple living, even the righteous in the scriptures, Jesus, even the highest mind, you save on money. You have more oxygen in your brain, so your memory is there. Your body is not broken down as fast because it's not trying to eliminate as much bacteria that you consume. You have little. So simple living is the highest. Simple living, just living simply, but highly intelligent. That's the highest. Simple living, your lifestyle, you don't get into arguments, you have discussions because you're simple living. Like say for instance, even like when you bathe, take a little bit of water, and just scrub yourself more than the water. So when you take a shower, turn the shower off and spend more time scrubbing the body with the soap, scrubbing it, and then turn the water on, because you live in simple living. You save on water, and all you drinking, and then most of the time you're supposed to drink room temperature water anyway. You don't supposed to drink cold water. Room temperature water goes down easier, better, because it's simple living. So you save on a lot of things financially. You save on a lot of things when it comes to your biosphere, if you will, how your biology work. Your kidneys don't have to overwork. And then once in a while, yeah, you get that big old cake, vegan or not. You know what I'm saying? Because we gotta have some sweets, brother, in this kind of world, brother. So I'm saying, it don't even gotta be a vegan sweet. Go get that big old, like, go to like the fresh market, or go to the high end grocery store. Don't go to no little rinky dink, because you're not trash. Number one, you're royalty. So go to your most expensive and get the most expensive sweets, because you there to enjoy. So you get it from the best chefs, vegan or not. Even though, because again, it's simple living. So even if it's not a vegan or a vegetarian sweet, it can have all the animal products in it, long as you enjoying yourself. And then you go back to your simple living, you know? So go enjoy this, because that's all people want. They don't really want to eat meat. They want to eat sweets. So, but get the best. You know what I'm saying? And guess what, brother Michael? I've been enjoying a vegan chocolate. You know how they got those? I normally save it because I was going to show you. Boy, and they like $5 almost. Here I go. I'm
Mhm,
enjoying it.
mhm,
You see what I'm saying? But I haven't went to the and got one of those cakes yet. But at my age and what I feel, I don't really and how my body is, all these years doing this stuff. So it's not the same compared to somebody has been um so constipated on a lot of things, like their liver been constipated with stuff, their kidneys and stuff. So once you really live simply, meaning that you don't complicate even your body, remember simple living. So yeah, go but get the best. I don't like I say, I think you are a fraud if you are a vegan or plant-based and then don't enjoy something like that. But the best. Like get like a slice of cake that's worth $50.
hmm,
Because again, it's gonna have the best you because you there for the taste. You want to enjoy the taste.
mhm.
Why not? Seeing with love. Why not? If you want that cake, don't get the cheap stuff. Well, you can do whatever you want. I wouldn't get the cheap stuff. I would get the most expensive stuff because it's going to your expensive body. But you went there for the taste, for the enjoyment, and then laugh when you eating that non-vegan cake. Because our life is short no matter what. Because you have simple living. You're not spending millions of dollars on these things because when you eat bread, all the regular foods, even animals, they put sugar in it. They inject it with sugars. You see what I'm saying? So when you, because you're not really eating animals nowadays, but even if you, like I said, so again, if you do the veganism, what the reality is, you would naturally, um, wean off of those type of sweets. Because I remember I was in the Little Debbie's because a lot of time, even when I was eating meat, when I was getting off of meat, I would go get some chicken, right? And I would chew the chicken, but I wouldn't swallow it. I would chew it. And I was naturally like not even inquiring the taste anymore. And I was one of those chicken eaters that ate the thin skin off the bone and then ate the gristle. And you know what I'm saying?
Gristle.
I was a real chicken eating person. But like I said, brother, the thing about it is you gotta figure out where you want to go. So it's not, and then so once you make serious about your destiny, where you going, then figure out how those who done it before you, and then see if you got the strength and the finances to do it. Otherwise, it's nothing but a fraud. Coming a fraud is something that perceive as it to be, and it's not. So yeah, but the thing about it, brother, woo, have some get the best and laugh while you're enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? Get the best. And ironically, the most expensive vegan sweets are they do taste the best. It's just,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? It does taste the best. But yeah, get that big old cake and just eat the cake. Eat that cake. Fill your belly up with the cake. You know what I'm saying? But because you live simple living, because you saved enough money, and then most of the week you've been eating fruits and stuff, you know? And then when you get to a certain age, you it will naturally go. I mean, because if you keep eating the same amount of food as an older person and younger, you commit a sin because your organs are not inquiring as much because you're not doing as much activity. So you'll naturally pull away from it if you're smart. You know, it's gonna go natural. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, even like say for instance, those little Debbie's and stuff, or the sweets that you like to eat, especially when you was younger, go put them in your mouth. Don't necessarily swallow them. You're like, ugh, and you'll start tasting the chemicals, man. Ooh, you really like, oh man, this is not the
Yeah.
same because you don't have to swallow it,
Mhm.
but your taste buds want your history, your genetic history want to see if you still about that. That's where desires come from.
Mhm.
So go ahead, buy it. And you're like, oh man. You're like, oh, I used to like this, but because your body's it's like, nah, I don't like that like I used to. Because you'll taste more chemical than sweet. And that's why I say buy the best. When you get that half a cake that's like $30, there's a reason why it's $30. When you start tasting it, you really enjoying your simple living because being happy is part of simple living. And you don't get that $50 half a cake every week, every day, you
No.
know?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Enjoy our life, brother. Simple living. And brother, I love drinking water. I mean, I fiend for it. I mean, I remember human beings are creatures of habit. I fiend. It's crazy. I never believed that because growing up, I was like water. We grew up on the sugars.
Hmm.
Put the
Hmm.
Kool Aid. Stir it up with all the sugar. It's crazy,
Hmm.
but I yearn more water than even solid foods. It's weird, but I'm just going with the flow. I'm going with life is taking me. I'm trying to be obedient to whatever it is guide me to. That's all I'm just trying to do is keep my word. Simple living. Are you keeping your word? You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. The highest form of life of all things is to live it simply, but be highly intelligent. Like Elon Musk. He have an island. Have you seen a new SpaceX place, Brother Michael?
No, I have not.
I'm gonna send you a video and they making fun of us. They have Coolio song. Remember Coolio, gangster? I'm a gangster,
He
right?
just recently passed. Yeah. Hmm.
So they did a remix of his song, but they showing that they're a gangster by making spacecrafts. And guess what? They living in those small. Remember, the space facility is huge, but their living quarters are those campers, those metal campers. So they live
Mm.
in simply, right? Simple living. Their job, they live where they work at. So they don't need a car. They walk to work. See, simple living.
Hmm.
And they're in their labs and they go back to their little simple, their little, and see the thing about it, them and their wives, both of them are scientists, right? So they working 16 hours a day. Then they go home to they have fun. They may have a little, sexual stuff and they hug each other, but then they go right back to simple living. They just go back and forth. And see, that's why the people who are not intelligent will call that boring because these people have 20, 30-year goals. They are
Mm.
trying to complete something that make 10 to 15 years. You don't make a Sauron collider in 1 week, brother. So these are not for like complicated people. These are for simple people. They said for the next 10 years, we're going to build a Heron, a collider, right? Because that's simple because they got one goal that's going to take 10 years. Simple
Hmm.
living. So they go to sleep, get back to work. You don't have to have Saturdays and weekends, no Bible stuff, the 7 day off, whatever that's supposed to mean. So you go, you eat your food, you enjoy your sweets, the best cakes, but then you go to your work, you go to your craft, and you're doing something serious like a collider, or you got the You see what I'm saying? So they doing real work as God. So they don't have retirement. They don't have because they're creating something that may take 20 years. I mean, think about it. It took 30 years. I mean, just look in the mirror. You said you're 43, right?
Hmm.
So they've been doing something every day almost your entire life. So they're living simply, brother. So you have an idea, and then whoever you're doing it with say we're gonna take 10, 15 years of our lives, but it's a highly intelligent task. That means you have to learn this. Like you have to build this, and then you have to build the tools to maintain what you make. So you becoming a god. So you living at your work like you're supposed to. And that's why the Jews are successful because if you think back in the days, Brother Michael, their home, like if they had like a meat store, right? They lived upstairs, remember?
Hmm.
Remember how people used to live upstairs, the
Hmm.
craftsmen and stuff? They
Yeah.
lived right upstairs and they went
Yeah.
right downstairs. You see? And that's why major
Hmm.
companies they still have penthouses. And then you could write off your taxes because you live in the place that you work. And like these
Hmm.
more people, when you're using your straw man name, all capital letters, then your corporation, the car that you buy is in your corporate name, right? The house
Hmm.
you live. So it's a write off of your taxes. That's what I'm saying because you live in simple living. You don't have to drive to work 10 miles to someone else's job. No, you go right downstairs to your business that you have a 10, 20-year project, and then your son's going to take your business further. That's what I'm saying. The people that live the simplest are the wealthiest one. Like the person that make the largest cruise ships. They've been making cruise ships for like over 100 plus years. Same family.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they live, their car is in the company's name, in their name, because you can put your name in your LLC or something. So when you buy, like say for instance, when you buy your clothes, right? You can
Mhm.
put your name on your clothes. And so that's what I'm saying. Just live simple. That's all you gotta do. Or like say for instance, if you want somebody who as a Louis Vuitton person, you go pay them to go make your clothes that you're gonna wear because you live in a simple life. You don't go out and buy other people's clothes. You go out and buy the clothes that you make.
Mhm.
You buy the food that you make. You work in the same facility. Like if you work in 16 hours and you're tired, you don't gotta drive an hour away. You just go right upstairs to your penthouse and just matter of fact, look at CEOs. They got showers in their little penthouses. They got workout facilities. When you look at Google and
Mhm.
stuff, they have restaurants. All the stuff is right there for them. Simple living. You saving electricity. It's just simple. Matter of fact, they drive scooters inside their buildings. They don't got to walk, but they in the same little facility, brother. Simple living and highly intelligent.
To go back to before we close,
Yes, sir.
to go back to the initial conversation regarding Noah's Ark versus cruise ships of today. Just while you were speaking about simple living and about a goal and being on this goal steadfast, for this is, 10, 20, 30 years, these goals that are done every day. I just so happened to just be curious and I Googled this statement. Are there any ships bigger than the Titanic? And what popped up was this particular set of sentences comparing the Symphony of the Seas versus the Titanic. Royal Caribbean's biggest ship categorically dwarfs the Titanic's size in every way, more than doubling its passenger capacity and nearly quintupling its gross tonnage. The Titanic's length, however, is still competitive at about 75% of the Symphony of the Seas. This is a ship that is used for leisure and vacation services. The idea of progress through a simple life even existed even in the allegory within Noah's Ark. For even if this was a small cargo ship, even smaller was the house in which they inhabited the ship, which was above said ship. So amazing stuff right there. I deeply apologize. However, I am simultaneously willing to take the lashings of being a half hour past the time that we said we would be on the build for an hour, and we are at an hour and a half. However, the conversation has been so compelling that I cannot help myself. So I'm going to take that as my slice of cake. And under what I have, about 10 and a half hours now. I was born at 6 a.m. Uh, on it was a Thursday morning, March the 6th, 1980. And I will be doing my best to become a better man without becoming a bitter man and looking about the sourness of the world and trying to maintain a sweetened heart, a naturally organic approach towards the world around me, not just for myself, but for an energy that expands to other people, a consciousness that dares a mighty thing to bring about change within the self that is evident, that is based upon experience and not belief alone. But alas, the candle cannot complain. against the darkness and the harshness. It instead emits itself, then admits to itself that it is everything that it needed. It is the light, and we
We
are
are
that
that
light.
light.
We will not blow this candle away from us. Instead, we will take this in our palm so that we can extend it to everyone, our warmth. We take this in
I got that.
and we will realize beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are not harmed. Peace and blessings, peace and paradise, and may all of us each day learn a little bit more about becoming better versions of ourselves.
Simple living and enjoy the expensive sweets, no matter what it is, big or not. Enjoy because life is short.
Life is indeed short.
Blessing. Yes, sir.
Blessings, blessings.